Today we're going to be making veggie soup. I buy these pre-cut veggies from Trade Fair and it has almost all the ingredients that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all in my pot and go ahead and season it with some adobo, garlic powder, ginger powder, and just a splash of comino. I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of minced garlic, about 2 scallions, some spinach, and if you don't have spinach you can skip this part. I basically just add all the veggies that I have in my fridge. So I added a little bit of red bell pepper here, and I also like to add an extra carrot. Even though it comes with carrots, I always like to add an extra one. Now I'm going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon of Himalayan salt, about 2 or 3 potatoes, and mix. We're going to go ahead and cover that up and let it cook for about 20 minutes. About 10 minutes have passed at this point, and I'm going to start cooking my skirt steak. First, I'm going to go ahead and check on that soup, see how it's going. I love to smell my food because if it smells good, it's going to taste good. And it was smelling so good at this point already. Go ahead and put some olive oil in my skillet for my skirt steak. Here, I already seasoned it with my 3 musketeers, which is adobo, garlic powder, and ginger powder. Going to go ahead and put that in my skillet. And I'm going to put you in a little Colombian secret. We add onions to our steak. Yes, the onions caramelize the steaks, makes it nice and juicy, gives it that extra flavor. And the onions just taste so good. My mom told me to cover my steak so it doesn't dry out, so that's what I did. About halfway through, I'm going to go ahead and flip it so it doesn't just cook on one side. But yeah, I used to not cover my meat, and it used to dry out and be hard, which was not great. So at this point, my soup is done. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the blender. This is actually the trickiest part when it comes to making this soup, because you don't want to add too much broth or too little broth, because you want the soup to be at a nice consistency, not super thick, not super thin. So this is something to get used to, but you can add water as you go until you get the hang of it. Here, I'm already a pro, so I kind of eyeball it at this point. And now I'm going to go ahead and fill it up as much as I can. I still had a little bit of soup left over, so I knew I was going to have to make a second batch, and I needed the pot. So I honestly just put whatever left of the left I had in this aluminum container. And I'm going to do the second batch, after. First, I'm going to check on my steak because I don't want it to burn. Duh. But yeah, you do definitely want to keep checking on that steak because the onions do get pretty sticky. I actually filled out my soup a little bit too much when I liquefied it, and it spilled a little bit, but it's okay. Just a technical difficulty we can oversee. Anyways, I liquefy for about 20 seconds. Just make sure there's no clumps. Turn off your blender, and now we're ready to put it back in the pot. So this is actually the perfect consistency that you want. You want it just like this, not too thick, not too thin. And you always want to make sure to turn off your stove because you're not really using it at this point, but you are going to use it again. So we'll just get back to it. Here I'm about to make my second batch, and my steak is done. I'm going to go ahead and cover it so it doesn't dry out, so it can stay nice and moist with the vapor itself. This one came out a little bit more liquidy, but it was fine because I mixed it with the first batch and it was great. The secret to this soup is adding a little bit of butter, a splash of milk. Yes, that's why Colombians call it crema de vegetales. I don't know what you guys call it in English, but I just call it veggie soup. So this is the extra broth that I had, but it's fine. We can just throw it out. Now you want to let it cook a couple more minutes and let it boil just because we added that milk, and you're ready to serve. This is the final result, and look at that yumminess. Look at that color. Look at that steak. Tell me not this looks mouth-watering. Honestly, I love making this soup because my whole family enjoys it. My daughter is here devouring it. My son is here devouring it. My mom is here devouring. It just came out so good.